George Romero's Day of the Dead is his third in his original Living Dead trilogy. It was never as loved as Night or Dawn, and I think it may have been a classic case of the Alien 3 syndrome, with the movie's scale being a lot less than its predecessor after its budget was slashed, which probably turned a lot of people off. I was lucky in that I saw the film many years after watching the first two, so long after that I didn't actually remember the other two movies, meaning I could judge Day on its own merit. We follow a group of survivors during a zombie apocalypse who've taken refuge in an underground bunker. You've got two main factions: the scientists who regularly fire a chopper to the surrounding areas looking for survivors and conduct experiments on captive zombies to find a cure, and the military personnel who act as the muscle for the experiments. Like with most Romero social commentary zombie flicks, the director shows that sometimes humans make for much worse villains than brain-dead zombies. In the downtime from the zombie attacks, when the bunker dwellers talk and argue amongst themselves, there are some cool lines in typical 80s sci-fi fashion that invite us to ponder on the line's weight, philosophical lines. Overall, much like Alien 3, there is a grim sense of forbidding dread and hopelessness throughout the film. Tension builds and builds between the main characters. It's not as riveting as, say, John Carpenter's The Thing, but it's worth watching, and well worth the explosion of zombie chaos that the movie climaxes with. When the zombies are finally unleashed, it's quite funny seeing all of them and how individualized they are. There's a janitor and a football player, someone who was zombified on their wedding day, etc, etc. It's also an indicator that it's all tongue-in-cheek and you're not supposed to take the film too seriously, and its main purpose is for you to have fun. The special effects for the body gore and limbs being torn off and body parts going everywhere was magnificent, just magnificent. Despite having seen so many great instances of practical effects, I was gobsmacked at how great the effects looked, with people having limbs hacked off, fingers chomped off, stomachs ripped apart and heads torn from bodies, and it all looked so real. It was all so vivid. When you hear about the great practical effects, numerous examples are often cited, but I don't really hear people talk about Day of the Dead. It isn't really mentioned much, but it should be. The effects were jaw-dropping. It really has arguably the best gore effects put to film, at least for realistic gore like humans being ripped apart and not sci-fi extravaganza like The Thing. The zombies looked great also, each had a slightly distinct look. I generally feel Day of the Dead holds its own in a crowded subgenre. It's a fitting end to Romero's original trilogy and is one of the better zombie movies out there. I give it a 7 out of 10.